Dawn in Port Charles arrives quietly, its pink-orange glow spreading over the harbor. The town's fishermen are already at work. The smell of coffee drifts from Kelly's diner. The world seems at peace until the phone rings at the Quartermain estate. By mid-morning, that single call will ripple through the entire community, altering relationships, reigniting rivalries, and forcing even the proudest residents to confront what truly matters. It begins, fittingly, with love and loss entwined. Dr. Amelia Hart, one of General Hospital's most dedicated cardiologists, has just learned that her longtime mentor and secret second father has passed away unexpectedly during a medical relief mission overseas. For years, Amelia built her life around caregiving, dismissing her own needs. Now, grief demands her full attention, and her carefully erected walls begin to crumble. Friends rally around her, though each does so in their own imperfect way. Detective Marcus Kane, whose heart she once quietly broke, vows to support her. But every look they share pulls him back into feelings he thought he'd buried. Across town, nurse-in-training Lila Morris watches Marcus's unwavering devotion and realizes the faint hope she carried, that maybe he'd notice her someday, might be slipping away. These are the opening notes of the day Port Charles can never forget. Past shadows, present tides grief, in Port Charles never travels alone. It invites confession, rekindles old feuds, and digs up memories long kept buried. Amelia, sitting alone in the hospital chapel, replays her last conversation with Dr. Rowan Pierce, the mentor she'd lost. He'd told her, half joking, that a doctor's greatest weakness isn't fatigue, it's attachment. "Save hearts," he'd said, "but don't stake yours on them." Now, she realizes how wrong he was. The heart doesn't ask permission to love, it simply does. Her thoughts are interrupted by the echo of footsteps. Marcus, of course, bringing her tea she won't drink. Their words are soft, almost ceremonial. He mentions the dedication ceremony planned in Dr. Pierce's honor. She nods, thanks him, and carefully avoids his eyes. The air between them feels like storm clouds waiting to break. Meanwhile, elsewhere in town, longtime residents gossip. That's the unofficial sport of Port Charles. They wonder aloud whether Amelia will take Dr. Pierce's position as head of cardiology, whether Marcus still carries a torch, whether the hospital's power brokers will use this tragedy to shift alliances. In this town, personal heartbreak and professional ambition often travel the same corridors. What loss teaches by the second act of the day, the funeral preparations draw everyone together, those united by affection, guilt, or simple curiosity. The chapel overflows. The lighting is subdued. Candles flicker, and every flicker feels like a heartbeat reminding them to hold close what can disappear in a breath. Amelia steps to the podium. Her speech is plain, heartfelt. She speaks not of medicine, but of humanity. How? Dr. Pierce believed every life had melody, and a hospital was simply a place where compassion set the rhythm. When she finishes, no one claps. They simply stand in silence, letting tears speak. Marcus, standing at the back, feels every word strike old wounds. The comrades he's lost in the line of duty, the father who never forgave him, the woman before him he never truly stopped loving. He leaves quietly, unwilling to let anyone see his face. Outside, the skies open up, because of course they do. In Port Charles, the weather knows the mood. Letters and crossroads. Later that night, Amelia returns to her apartment. There, on her kitchen table, she finds a letter, handwritten, sealed in the mentor's careful scrawl. It must have been mailed days before he passed. The letter isn't about medicine at all. It's about courage in the small things, forgiving herself for mistakes, trusting love again, and remembering that helping others means nothing if she refuses to let anyone help her. One line breaks her completely. "You've spent your life. Repairing hearts, Amelia. It's time to let yours beat freely. As tears spill, she knows what must come next. To face Marcus, to say what's been unsaid for years, even if it ends in rejection. Love at the harbor. The next morning, she finds him at the harbor, because everyone finds clarity near the water in Port Charles. He's watching the sunrise, leaning on his car, the picture of exhaustion and regret. When she approaches, they both speak at once, stumble over apologies, then laugh even through the ache. She admits she's been terrified, of need, of weakness, of losing control. He admits he never stopped hoping she might come back. What follows isn't a passionate movie kiss, it's something gentler. Fingers brush, hesitation melts, and the still morning air feels like mercy. For a moment, grief turns into gratitude, a reminder that endings make room for quiet beginnings. Across the pier, Lila sees them and turns away. Her disappointment is tempered with admiration. Love, after all, should return to where it belongs. Ripples. Across town by midday, word spreads that Amelia will indeed accept the leadership role at the hospital, not out of ambition, but to honor the man who believed in her. Her first act, launching a program in his name to support underfunded clinics. That decision, small and civic, resonates far beyond the hospital walls. The Quartermains donate. Sonny Corinthos, ever the town's complicated benefactor, secretly contributes too, and even the notorious Cassadines, uncharacteristically, send flowers. In this version of Port Charles, grudges bend under the weight of genuine grief and shared purpose. The town, for once, moves in harmony. The goodbye. Everyone felt. That evening, the hospital holds a vigil overlooking the harbor. Candles line the windows. Each one represents a patient saved by Dr. Pierce's hand or inspired by his example. A choir of staff members sing softly, a wordless hymn that threads through corridors. Patients peek from rooms, staff hold each other's hands, and even those who usually stand stoic let a tear fall. Amelia, standing among them, says goodbye one final time, not just to her mentor, but to the version of herself that refused to feel. Marcus watches from a distance. He thinks about how love, unlike any investigation or case file, refuses to follow neat logic. It demands surrender. For the first time in years, he's willing to consider surrender a form of bravery. Tomorrow in Port Charles, the next morning, life resumes, though differently. At Kelly's, families eat breakfast, nurses swap shifts, the town clock strikes 10. Yet the emotional afterglow lingers. Amelia heads to work early, framed by the sunrise. As she steps into the hospital lobby, the sunlight catches the memorial plaque freshly hung beside the elevator. In memory of Dr. Rowan Pierce, who taught us that healing begins with the heart. She places a hand on the metal, whispers a promise, and turns toward the nurse's station, where Marcus stands, coffee in hand, already bickering playfully with the staff. Their eyes meet. The day feels wide open. Off in the distance, the harbor reflects the dawn, reminding every resident that heartbreak doesn't end a chapter. It deepens the story. Legacy and renewal port. Charles has always been a town of cycles, tragedy, making room for tenderness, rivalries birthing reconciliation. The events of this week remind everyone that grief, rather than a cage, can be a doorway. The hospital's community fund transforms into something wildly successful. Leela volunteers to run outreach clinics in rougher neighborhoods, finding purpose that soothes her earlier heartbreak. Marcus begins mentoring young detectives, determined to teach them compassion alongside procedure, and Amelia, week by week, learns to balance saving lives with living her own. She still visits the harbor sometimes, On stormy nights, thunder rolling over the bay, she swears she can hear her mentor's voice carried by the wind. Keep your heart open, Amelia. That's where miracles start. Epilogue. The quiet bravery of staying soap towns like Port Charles thrive. On outrageous twists, secret twins, miraculous recoveries, disguised heirs. But sometimes the real drama isn't in the shocks. It's in the staying, in the quiet act of choosing to remain, to rebuild, to forgive. Today's heartbreak reminded the citizens, and the fans who watch their fictional lives unfold, that love stories endure because they teach us endurance itself. Port Charles continues on, heartbeat steady, its people a little bruised but still believing. After all, in every great story, the heart always finds its way home.